A routine drive home turned into a nightmare when two racist deputies pulled over a black mother and daughter, brutalizing them in the darkness. But they made one fatal mistake. Her husband was a former U.S. Marshal, trained to hunt down corruption. What followed wasn't just justice, it was revenge. And when the truth exploded, the nation would never look at law enforcement the same way again. This shocking true story proves that no one is above the law, not even those who enforce it. If you believe in justice, smash the like button, subscribe for more powerful stories, and comment below. What would you do if you were in her shoes? Share this video, because the world needs to hear the truth. Let's go viral for the right reasons. The tires hummed against the cracked back road asphalt as the mother tightened her grip on the steering wheel. Beside her, her 12-year-old daughter scrolled through her phone, earbuds in, oblivious to the danger creeping up behind them. The rearview mirror reflected two blinding headlights, too close aggressive. A sheriff's SUV, riding their bumper like a predator stalking prey. "Mom." The daughter pulled out one earbud, her voice small. "That cop's been following us for miles." "I know, baby," the mother replied, forcing calm into her voice. She tapped the brakes lightly, a polite signal to back off. Instead, the SUV lurched forward, its grille nearly kissing their bumper. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't routine. Red and blue lights erupted in the darkness. A siren whooped once, sharp as a gunshot. The daughter's breath hitched. "What do we do?" "Nothing," the mother said firmly, easing onto the gravel shoulder. "Absolutely nothing." Two deputies approached. The first was broad-shouldered, his smirk oozing arrogance. The second hummed back, arms crossed, his silence more unsettling than his partner's sneer. "License and registration," the smug deputy drawled, flashlight raking over their faces. The mother reached for her purse, hands steady. "Of course, officer. But why were we stopped?" The deputy ignored her, his gaze sliding to her daughter. "This your kid? Where y'all headed?" "Home. From her piano lesson." "That's so." He leaned in close enough for her to smell tobacco on his breath. His tone dripped mock curiosity. "Funny. Your car matches one involved in a hit-and-run earlier. Black sedan, minor injuries." The mother's pulse spiked. "That's impossible. We were at the community center all evening, dozens of people saw us." The deputy scribbled in his notepad, unfazed. "Step out of the vehicle." Her daughter whimpered. The mother kept her voice level. "I'm cooperating. You have my ID. There's no reason." "Now." The deputy's bark sent her daughter flinching. The mother unbuckled slowly, but the second deputy was already at the passenger door, rapping on the window. "Unlock. No. Don't touch her." The mother snapped his gravel bit into her shoes. The smug deputy seized her arm, spinning her toward the car hood. Cold metal clamped around her wrists, handcuffs. Her daughter screamed as the silent deputy yanked her from the car. "Mom." "Let her go. She's 12. The mother thrashed, but the deputy pressed her face into the scorching hood, his knee digging into her back. "Probable cause is whatever I say it is," he hissed. Tears blurred her vision as her daughter's cries tore at her heart. Then she remembered. The smartwatch. Her husband's emergency protocol. Blindly, she twisted her wrist, matching the button. Once. Twice. A vibration. Call connected. She prayed her husband was listening as the deputy leaned down, his whisper venomous. "Nobody's coming to save you." The alert buzzed against the husband's wrist like a live wire. He didn't need to check the screen, the coded pulse was unmistakable. Emergency. Active threat. The GPS coordinates burned into his vision as he grabbed his keys, his mind already calculating routes. The back road near Miller's barn. Isolated. No cameras. The kind of place where things could disappear. His truck tore through the night, headlights off, guided by muscle memory and moonlight. 10 years as a U.S. Marshal had taught him two truths. Corruption always left a trail, and predators never expected the hunted to fight back. The scene unfolded like a nightmare. His wife pinned against their car, her face pressed to the hood by the bulkier deputy. His daughter, God, his baby girl, thrashing in the grip of the second officer, her screams shredding the quiet night. The cruiser's headlights cast long shadows, turning the deputies into grotesque puppets playing at justice. He parked half a mile back, moving soundlessly through the tall grass. His boots found every patch of soft earth, his breathing steady despite the fire in his veins, close enough now to hear the smug deputies taunt. You people always think someone's coming to save you. Wrong. 1 second, the man was leering over the husband's wife. The next, a steel grip locked around his wrist, twisting until bone ground against bone. The deputy howled as his sidearm clattered to the gravel. On your knees. The husband's voice was ice. Now. The deputy spun, free hand swinging. But the husband was faster. A palm strike to the throat crushed his windpipe. As the man gagged, the husband snatched his radio and badge, flinging both into the darkness. The silent deputy froze, his grip slackening on the daughter's arm. Recognition flashed in his eyes. He knows me. Let her go. The deputy obeyed, hands rising. The daughter sprinted to her mother as the husband retrieved the dropped handcuffs. With clinical precision, he secured the choking deputy's wrists behind his back. You're dead, the man wheezed. Sheriff will bury you. The husband knelt, yanking the deputy's head up by his hair. Who gave the order? Silence. He twisted the cuffs, just enough to make the deputy whimper. Try again. Pine Ridge? The man spat. They flagged your wife after the zoning meeting, said she was a problem. The pieces clicked. The controversial land deal. His wife's speech defending their neighborhood. The sudden patrols near their home. This wasn't random. It was a hit. The silent deputy edged backward. The husband didn't blink. Your phone. Toss it. When the device skidded across the gravel, he scooped it up, swiping to the most recent calls. Blocked number. 9:07 p.m. right before the stop. He hit redial. A gruff voice answered on the second ring. It done. The husband pressed record. Deputy, tell him what you just told me. The cuffed man hesitated, until the husband's boot found his kidney. With a sob, he confessed. The fake hit-and-run report. The sheriff's whispered approval. The $5,000 bonus waiting if they scared the family straight. The phone went dead mid-sentence. Sirens wailed in the distance. The silent deputy paled. That's not dispatch. Pine Ridge runs their own units. They'll kill us all. The husband hauled his wife and daughter toward their car. Keys. The deputy threw them. As the engine roared to life, the husband spared one glance at the men who targeted his family. The first deputy was still coughing in the dirt. The second stood paralyzed, staring at his own abandoned phone like it was a grenade. Tell your boss this, the husband said. The hunt goes both ways. Then they vanished into the night, leaving the deputies to face the approaching storm and the reckoning they just unleashed. The safe house smelled of gun oil and stale coffee. The former U.S. Marshal watched his wife pace the length of the bunker-like room, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Their daughter sat curled on a cot in the corner, clutching a tablet with white-knuckled intensity. The glow of the screen reflected in her wide, shell-shocked eyes. We can't stay here forever, his wife said, her voice low but vibrating with tension. He didn't answer immediately, his attention fixed on the laptop before him. The footage playing on screen showed the two deputies in their cruiser before the traffic stop. The audio crystal clear. Black sedan, female driver, kid in passenger seat. The smug deputy was saying, tapping the steering wheel. Sheriff wants it messy. Make sure the body cam malfunctions. The silent deputy had nodded, checking his sidearm. Pine Ridge paying extra for this one. A humorless smile twisted the husband's lips as he saved the file. We won't have to. Their ally, a grizzled private security specialist with military tattoos peeking from his collar, slid another burner phone across the table. Third whistleblower today. County dispatcher. Says the sheriff's been running ops like this for years. The wife stopped pacing. How many families? At least 6, confirmed. The specialist pulled up a map on the wall monitor, red dots marking locations across the county. All in neighborhoods slated for redevelopment, all with activists who spoke against the zoning changes. The pieces clicked together with terrible clarity. The husband's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. It wasn't just racism. It was capitalism weaponized through badge and bullet. The daughter suddenly sat up straight. "Dad." She turned the tablet around. A local news alert blared. Sheriff denies knowledge of traffic stop incident. The video showed the sheriff, a silver-haired man with a practiced look of concern, standing before reporters. "These allegations are baseless. If these deputies acted improperly, they'll face consequences. But let's not rush to judgment." The wife made a strangled noise. "He's throwing them under the bus." The husband was already moving, plugging the burner phone into his laptop. Not fast enough. With a few keystrokes, he uploaded the damning cruiser footage to 3 different journalists, 2 activist networks, and a federal prosecutor's office. "Time to light the fuse," the specialist muttered. The explosion came faster than expected. Within hours, the footage trended nationwide. News choppers circled the sheriff's department as protesters flooded the streets. The district attorney, facing mounting pressure, announced a special investigation. But the real breakthrough came at 3:17 a.m. on the second night, when an encrypted file hit the husband's inbox. Security footage from a county planning meeting, time-stamped 2 weeks before the traffic stop. There was the sheriff, shaking hands with a developer in a $3,000 suit. The developer sliding an envelope across the table. The sheriff pocketing it without breaking conversation. The wife's breath caught. That's the man behind the Pine Ridge project." The specialist whistled low. "Bingo. Now we know why they wanted you quiet." Dawn brought chaos. The sheriff held another press conference, sweat visible on his brow despite the cool morning. "I have no recollection of this meeting," he insisted to a rabid press corps. "This video could be doctored." A reporter interrupted. "Then how do you explain the $20,000 deposit into your offshore account the next day?" The camera caught the sheriff's micro-expression. A flicker of panic before the mask slammed back down. The husband allowed himself a grim smile as he watched the live feed. The noose was tightening. His daughter tugged his sleeve. "Is it over?" He cupped her face, thumb brushing away a tear he hadn't noticed. "Not yet, baby. But soon." Across the room, the specialist's phone rang. When he hung up, his face was grave. "Pine Ridge just mobilized. They know where we are." The husband stood, rolling his shoulders. "Then let's give them a proper welcome." The warning came at 3:42 a.m. A frantic call from their inside contact. "They're coming. Full tactical gear." Sheriff gave the green light. The former Marshal moved swiftly, rousing his family as the private security team snapped into action. His wife's hands trembled only slightly as she helped their daughter into a bulletproof vest, 2 sizes too big. "Remember the plan," he murmured, pressing his forehead to hers. "No matter what happens." "I know." Her jaw set. "We finished this." Outside, the first engines growled in the distance. The safe house wasn't a refuge. It was a battlefield of their choosing. The Marshal's security allies had spent days preparing. Motion sensors lined the perimeter. Live feed cameras, hidden in tree hollows and fence posts, streamed to 3 separate media outlets. The world would watch what happened next. The first Pine Ridge vehicle hit the spike strip at 4:03 a.m. The armored SUV careened into a ditch, men spilling out like angry hornets. "Contact east perimeter," the security chief muttered into his headset. The Marshal checked his sidearm. Right on schedule. The sheriff arrived in an unmarked cruiser, his tailored suit visible beneath a tactical vest. He hung back as his militia breached the property, until the Marshal stepped into the floodlights, hands empty. "Evening, Sheriff." His voice carried across the clearing. "Brought enough men for a coup?" The sheriff's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Just cleaning up loose ends." He raised a document. Federal warrant for your arrest. Assaulting officers. Kidnapping. The marshal laughed, a sharp, dangerous sound. He tapped his smartwatch. Every media screen in the state flickered to life simultaneously, showing the cruiser footage of deputies conspiring, the sheriff taking bribes, Pine Ridge's kill orders. Meet my warrant. Chaos erupted. Pine Ridge operatives hesitated, some lowering weapons as the enormity of their exposure sunk in. The sheriff screamed orders, drawing his sidearm, just as state police sirens wailed. The marshal had one final play. The whistleblower's recording, held until this moment, blasted from every speaker. Take out the whole family if you have to, the sheriff's voice snarled. That land deal closes Friday. The state police commander stepped forward, mic live to every news channel. Sheriff, you're under arrest. The camera phones caught it all. The sheriff's collapse into cursing rage, his militia abandoning him, the moment the cuffs clicked shut on the man who thought he owned the county. As the sun rose, the family emerged to a surreal scene. News vans, protesters turned celebrants, neighbors from their old community holding signs. We knew the truth. The daughter, still wearing the oversized vest, whispered, "We won." Her mother kissed her forehead. "We survived. That's the first win." The marshal watched the sheriff being shoved into a squad car. Not his own department's, but state police. The system had worked, barely because they'd forced it to. He pulled his family close. The fight wasn't over. But this battle was theirs. The courtroom erupted when the verdict was read. Guilty on all counts. The smug deputy, now stripped of his badge, sank into his chair like a deflated balloon. His silent partner, who'd cut a deal for testimony, avoided looking at the family altogether. On the other side of the country, the sheriff sat in a federal detention center, awaiting trial for conspiracy, bribery, and civil rights violations. The mother held her daughter's hand as they walked down the courthouse steps. Microphones and cameras swarmed, but this time the lights didn't feel threatening. They'd felt like a spotlight on justice. The body cam footage, the whistleblower testimonies, and the Pine Ridge financial records became the blueprint for reform. Within months, 3 states passed Harris laws, mandating independent oversight for police misconduct cases. The federal government launched a task force to investigate developer-backed corruption in local law enforcement. But the real change happened in living rooms and community centers across America. At a town hall in Detroit, a grandmother played the marshal's emergency call recording for her neighbors. "If they did it there, they can do it here," she said. The next week, their city council voted to audit all police developer communications. In Texas, a 17-year-old used the family's story to rally his classmates against a suspicious rezoning proposal. When the sheriff's department tried to intimidate them, they live-streamed every interaction. The proposal was withdrawn. The mother, watching these developments from their new home, wept the first time she saw protesters holding signs with their daughter's face, not as a victim, but as a symbol of hope. The invitation to speak at the National Civil Rights Museum came on heavy parchment paper. The marshal hesitated. He was a man of action, not words. But his daughter tugged his sleeve. "Tell them what you told me. That we're not scared anymore." Under the museum's towering rotunda, standing beside photos of Rosa Parks and John Lewis, the former lawman spoke without notes. "They targeted us because they thought we were powerless. A black family in a back road town. Who would listen? Who would care?" He paused, the silence thick. "But power isn't given. It's taken. By mothers who press emergency buttons. By daughters who survive. By every person who watches injustice and says, 'Not today.'" The applause shook the walls. Their daughter started self-defense classes. The mother joined a federal task force reviewing police training protocols. And the marshal? He opened a small security firm with his military buddies, specializing in protecting whistleblowers. Their first client was a deputy from the next county over, with evidence of another shady land deal. The work never ended, but now they weren't alone. As the mother told a reporter on the one-year anniversary, "This wasn't just our story. It was every family's story waiting to be told." She held up her wrist, showing the smartwatch that started it all. The question is, who's listening? This family's courage changed America, but the fight's not over. If this story moved you, be part of the change. Smash that like button to spread their message. Subscribe for more real-life victories. What injustice will you expose? Share this video, because the next whistleblower could be watching right now. Together, we are unstoppable. #Harris Legacy.